Hey guys, what is going on? It is Fro Boy. I'm here to do a special rehousing video for one of my tarantulas, my curly hair, also known as the Brachypelma Albopilosum. It goes along those lines. Again, I really gotta take the time to sit down and understand how you pronounce these scientific names. But yeah, I decided to put him in this enclosure. Now, as you can see, he's quite small, or she. I do think it's a female, but I haven't been able to verify it because it hasn't molted yet, but I was told that it was a female. And anyway, I saw acrylic enclosures because, for one thing, I do think that acrylic enclosures are pretty nice. I already have some in here, and I actually rehoused a few of them recently into some acrylic enclosures, which I think are a lot smoother and a lot nicer than the typical ones that you find in pet stores like this. So I wanted to experiment with this product that I found on Amazon. I'll put it down in the description down below with the link so you can buy it if you want. It's a pretty good size. It comes with its own temperature meter, percentage, tells you what the temperature is. Yeah, right now the humidity is pretty high, and it's pretty high because I just recently missed this entire thing. The substrate was a bit dry, and so I normally have a substrate that's pretty moist to the point that it's a lot. It's not so dry and easily breakable like I have for my species that prefer a completely dry substrate. And so I just missed it recently just to give it a head start in community, and hopefully it's going to enjoy it. So this little one, I've had her for quite some time. I want to say about like 4 months by this point. And someone mentioned online that these type of enclosures actually have a disadvantage to them. What I mean by that is that, as you can see, this has a metal wiring for the ventilation on top, and I noticed that a lot of times this particular tarantula of mine loves to hang from the bottom. Again, that's very basic tarantula behavior or spider behavior. And someone pointed out to me that the reason why these things are pretty dangerous and not worth the risk is because sometimes, depending on the tiny little hooks that they have at the end of their feet, they can sometimes get tangled or mingled or wherever the term is, and it could be really difficult for the tarantula to ever get out of that situation. Say if it was hanging upside down from here down the middle, there's pretty much there's quite a few inches in between this top portion and the ground. It wouldn't have any way to support, and it would be dangling from one of its limbs if it was unable to remove it. Not only that can endanger the tarantula, as it would struggle and potentially lose a limb. And even though tarantulas are some of the creatures on the planet that can just molt and grow a new one, it's really not worth the risk. And there can always be problems. And so I wanted to invest in something that was a little more not only appealing to the look, but also safer for this little one. So I went ahead and bought this. Again, I'll put down the link down below in the description where I got this. But yeah, something about this enclosure. The thing that I noticed, that this particular enclosure was from China, and I've been hearing and seeing on YouTube videos that sometimes when you buy these, build them yourself acrylic enclosures, they can not really come with instructions. Now, I'm not saying this was very difficult, but this can be very inconvenient for a lot of people who aren't experienced with setting these things up with, here's the parts, and then you can just put them all together yourself. Thankfully, Amazon had plenty of angles of the product itself, and I was able to go off base of that and just freaking put it all together. So after that was done, I asked the substrate that I needed. I used a big hide because I really want this to I really wanted the hide to match the size and width of this enclosure. Like I said, look how big it is and look how small it is. But yeah, I figure like it could be its permanent home, because I do know these things can get a bit bigger, and I would love it if she can web up this entire place and just make it look really nice. But yeah, anyway, hoping that she's a girl. She rarely used her hoe when I had it in here, and because it made me think that tarantulas are all of their unique personalities, or that's just generally with any type of creature. especially with spiders. And you know, she would occasionally go in there. As you can see, it's pretty smooth at the bottom. I apologize if the camera doesn't show that well, but yeah, she webbed it up in there. She would partially cover it, and she would occasionally go in there. And she has a long history in this enclosure, and quite frankly, I would prefer if she had more freedom to like move about and web up as much as she wanted. I do love it when my spiders web up. As you can see a bit of the webbing in this enclosure. You can see with my pumpkin patch. Yeah. And I legitimately find it appealing. It tells me how active they are and how much they actually prefer to stylize their own place. With that being said, I definitely want to be able to move her into this enclosure and see how she settles in. Not only that, the most important thing is that she won't have to risk her tiny little claws catching onto this thing and potentially getting her stuck. So without further ado, we're gonna try to relocate her from there to here. Now, even though this is a docile species, this particular tarantula can sometimes get a bit stubborn and impatient. At one time, when I was trying to nudge her to move out of the way, when I was trying to change her water bowl, she slowly started arching her body, and to the point where it looked like she was bearing fangs at me. Ever since then, I just took that as a sign that she can get easily irritated from that, and that I gotta respect the fact that she doesn't want to be bothered. And not only that, I really don't want to risk a species' reputation being docile or hostile, and take that like as the standard that this tarantula is gonna guarantee not do anything to me. Again, tarantulas can be pretty unique in their personalities, and like I told you, even though this is a docile species, she can sometimes give me an attitude. So with that being said, I'm just gonna use this bendy straw so I can gently nudge her from here to here so she can bridge. And that pyramid that she's on, I'm definitely gonna put in here, maybe right there in the corner, once she moves out of the way. And that thermometer that I use for humidity and temperature, I definitely want to reuse that for something if I can detach it from the glass wall and maybe use it for a different enclosure, because there's nothing wrong with keeping track of the temperature gauges for some species. And conveniently, this one happens to come with its own. It's read in Celsius. You can see the C there. Sorry for the camera, but there is a C there. Yeah, right now it's gonna go a slightly higher once I actually close this, but I kept it open for a while, and so it hasn't really been reading any heat. And right now my apartment's pretty cool. Actually, you know what? I don't understand Celsius that well, so maybe that is actually a normal temperature. Like, it could be around somewhere between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I will make a note of it, what this is currently mounting to in terms from Celsius to Fahrenheit. But yeah, let's just try to nudge her over into this enclosure. So gently, I'm gonna rub her abdomen with the straw. You see, she's pretty fat, and so I let her fast for about a week and a half, and so she might be hungry. I try to make sure that their abdomen doesn't get so big that it's ridiculously oversized, and it's not proportionally correct compared to their headpiece. As you know, tarantulas, if they fall, they can potentially rupture their abdomen. Okay, come on. Okay. What's wrong with you? Okay, come on. Okay. Yeah, she's quite beautiful. Curly hairs are really cute. Call me biased because you guys know I have curly hair, and hence my channel is called Fro Boy Productions. I used to have a fro before I joined the military, and in a few months when I get out, I'll be able to. Oh well, I don't want you to go through there. I want you to crawl there. Yeah, she's really beautiful and quite lovely. Size. Ooh, that scared me. I scared her. Well, she's in. But yeah, you can see hand size comparisons. She can fit into my palm. Yeah, you can see she's starting to web up. I don't know if the camera will capture it, but yeah, she's starting to do that. Oh, you okay? You okay? Um, okay, I guess she's okay. I think when she was trying to climb this, I didn't like pay attention entirely to what portion I was filming, but I think when she was climbing onto this, she may have slipped. But yeah, she seems okay. Uh, okay, so let's get this pyramid in here. Gotta make sure I get some of her web because that's a good thing. I'm pretty sure some of you have heard, but whenever you want a tarantula to guarantee that they're gonna, you know, web up their new enclosure, you want to get a bit of their webs from the previous enclosure so that they can, be familiar with it. I don't know if this is a sense of smell or maybe it's a natural sense. I don't know what sense it is. I'm gonna assume it's smell because that seems to be the most logical one. But when you put their web into their new home, like they're familiar with it and they're comfortable with it. I do that every time I rehouse tarantula into a new enclosure. So far, it's never failed me, and they've always gotten comfortable enough to want to do whatever. But yeah, she's in her new enclosure. Yeah, that's more than large enough for her to go in and make her own, and I'm pretty content about that. I wanted to really enjoy herself, and I'm gonna reuse these for something else. I can actually put them in here now that I think about it. Hopefully, she won't pull it. She won't yank this out like she likes to do with her fake plants. So hopefully, this will be so large that she'll be like, man, whatever. She's got better stuff to do. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I rehoused my curly haired into her new enclosure. I definitely gotta take this off and add it here, but it's likely gonna be all curled up and poor quality, kind of like what you see with this label here. Yeah, I don't exactly have a label maker. I have one that was lended to me, and so I was able to conveniently make a couple. Otherwise, some of these just came with the species that I bought from stores or Craigslist, etc. And I just removed them and added them onto their new enclosures. So I'm definitely gonna have to invest in a new label maker. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. She seems pretty calm. Let me gently blow some air at her. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm pretty. If the camera showed it, again, I don't know how well the camera caught it compared to what the eye can see, but she's already starting to web up her area. And quite frankly, I noticed that maybe it's with this species, or maybe that's just her personality. But whenever she moves around, yeah, can you see it? See a little straight line? Yeah, you can see it right there, shiny with the white. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right there. Yeah, she likes to move around and web up as much things as possible whenever she's moving from one spot to another. I know she does this every time when I try to make her move. So I'm pretty happy that she's already like just comfortable in here as she would be in here. And the nice thing about this enclosure that you can see now that it's closed, you have these locks that allow you to secure the enclosure. So you just can slide this, and this like that, and then you can gently just lift it from here, effortlessly, zero effort, and you just slide this here. Make sure that when you install these with these screws, should you ever get this product or something similar, you make sure you don't make the nut like under this screw too tight. Otherwise, it's gonna be and give a lot of resistance. You want it just snug enough to where it's secure, but loose enough to where this thing can move freely. You see, you got 3 locks. 1, 2, 3. And you got this convenient little spot here that you can lift up. Sorry. And pour some water. That's why I put her water dish right there. And yeah, I added quite a few inches. It's pretty low, the farther away it is from her height, but she's got a lot of substrate in there, and she can dig around and do whatever she wants because she's quite active. And so I'm gonna be really happy to see how she does in the next 24 hours to a week. But yeah, for this, I know what I'm gonna do with this enclosure. Maybe I'll use it to house some crickets because I do want to get my farm a bit bigger, and I did spend quite a bit of money on this at the time. Same with that, which I use for storage. I might do this for storage, or I might just use this to house the food that I feed my crickets, my spiders to. So yeah, there's an idea. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions regarding this product or some questions about my tarantulas and spiders, feel free to ask a question down in the comments below. Hope you guys like this video. Sometime in the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing more Power Ranger videos for those of you who follow my channel for that reason. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Ciao for now.